Hello, and welcome back to Code Your English, the channel where we explore meaningful life topics while helping you build real, natural English fluency. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for spending this time with me. This episode might just shift the way you think, not only about learning English, but also about yourself. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects every part of your life, even if you've never thought about it this way before. It's called the mind-body-soul connection. And more importantly, we're going to look at why your mindset is more important than your talent. Now, maybe you've heard people talk about mindset like it's just another self-help buzzword. But it's much more than that. It's the way you think about challenges, failure, progress, even your own potential. And that mindset, it doesn't just sit quietly in your brain. It influences your emotions, your motivation, and even your body. When your mindset is strong and healthy, your energy changes. Your habits improve. You begin to believe in what's possible, even if you're not naturally talented. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever looked at someone and thought, wow, they're just gifted? I could never do that? Or maybe you've said to yourself, I'm just not a language person, or I'm too old to start something new. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. We've all been there. But the truth is, you don't need to be talented to grow. You need the right mindset. Your mind is the control center. It tells your body what to do and decides what you believe about yourself. Your body holds your energy. It's where you feel excitement, stress, tiredness, and joy. And your soul, that's your purpose, your passion, your deeper why. When these three parts work together, mind, body, and soul, something powerful happens. You stop just surviving, and you start creating a life that feels meaningful. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about noticing the way you speak to yourself, the habits you keep, and the choices you make, even the small ones. It's about learning to say, hey, I'm struggling, but I'm not giving up. So, let me ask you, is talent really enough? Or is your mindset the real game changer? In this episode, we're going to break this down and explore how the mind-body-soul connection shapes not just your English learning journey, but your whole life. I'll share real examples, ask you some questions, and give you space to reflect, all while using natural English that you can practice and absorb. So, take a deep breath. You're in the right place. Let's explore this together. One idea, one phrase, and one mindset shift at a time. Defining the mind-body-soul connection. So, now that we've introduced the idea of mindset being more important than talent, let's take a closer look at something even deeper. The connection between your mind, your body, and your soul. You've probably heard these three words before, especially in conversations about health, motivation, or personal growth. But what do they really mean? And more importantly, how do they all work together in your everyday life? Let's start with the mind. When we talk about the mind, we're not just talking about your brain as an organ. We're talking about your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitude, and your mental focus. Your mind is where your mindset lives. It's where you make decisions, where you talk to yourself, sometimes kindly, and sometimes not so kindly. The mind controls how you see the world. Two people can be in the exact same situation, but if one of them has a positive, flexible mindset, and the other has a fearful or negative one, their experience will feel completely different. So, the mind is not just about intelligence or memory. It's about your inner world, the stories you tell yourself, and how you respond to life's challenges. Next, we have the body. This one is a bit easier to understand because we all live in our bodies every day. But sometimes we forget how much our body and our physical health affect our mind. When you're tired, hungry, or haven't moved your body in a while, your mood changes. You become more stressed, more impatient, and even more negative in your thinking. On the other hand, when you take care of your body, when you eat well, stretch, walk, or just get some fresh air, you often feel clearer, lighter, and more ready to face the day. Your body is your home, and when your body feels good, it becomes easier to think clearly and stay motivated. And finally, let's talk about the soul. This is the part that's hardest to define in words, but also the most powerful. Your soul is not a physical part of you. You can't touch it or see it, but you can definitely feel it. It's the part of you that wants meaning. It's where your passion lives. It's what makes you ask questions like, "Why am I here?" Or, "What truly matters to me?" Your soul gets excited when you're doing something that feels right for you, something that matches your values or brings you joy. That could be creating art, helping others, spending time with people you love, or even learning a new language like English. Not just because you have to, but because it connects you to new ideas, cultures, and opportunities. Now, here's the most important thing to understand. These three parts, mind, body, and soul, are always connected. You can't fully separate them, even if you try. What you think in your mind affects how your body feels. What your body feels can change your emotions and your thoughts. And when your soul feels empty or lost, even small tasks can start to feel heavy and pointless. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you wake up one morning and your mind is already full of stress. Maybe you're thinking, "I'm behind. I'm not good enough. I'll never finish everything." Those thoughts make you feel anxious. Because of that, your body tenses up. Your shoulders feel tight. Your breathing gets shallow. And maybe your stomach even hurts. Now, because both your mind and body are out of balance, your soul starts to feel low. You lose motivation. You don't feel connected to anything meaningful. It's just another hard day. All of that started with your thoughts. But the good news? It works the other way too. Let's say you wake up and instead, you take a few deep breaths. You drink some water. You go outside for a short walk or do a bit of stretching. Your body starts to wake up in a gentle, healthy way. That movement sends signals to your mind that it's safe to relax. You might think, "Okay, maybe today won't be perfect, but I can handle it." Now your soul starts to feel a little more alive. You feel connected again. And all of this came from one small choice, one small moment of care for your body or your thoughts. So often, we try to solve problems by only focusing on one area. For example, we try to think positive while ignoring our physical exhaustion. Or we push our bodies too hard without listening to our emotions. Or we chase goals that don't really match our values. And then wonder why we still feel empty inside. But real growth, real change, happens when we take care of all three parts of ourselves. That's the true meaning of the mind-body-soul connection. It's not just something you read about in books. It's something you live. Every choice you make, what you eat, how you move, what you think, how you speak to yourself, and what you believe in, all of it adds up. And all of it shapes who you become. So let me ask you this. Which part of you have you been ignoring lately? Your mind, your body, or your soul? And what's one small thing you can do today to bring them back into balance? It doesn't have to be a big dramatic change. Even something small, like taking 5 minutes to journal, going for a quick walk, or choosing a kinder thought can make a real difference. Because when these parts of you are connected and working together, that's when the magic starts to happen. That's when you don't just get through life. You grow through it. Talent versus mindset. Breaking the myth. Let's talk about something that a lot of us believe, often without even realizing it. It's the idea that if you want to be successful at something, whether it's learning English, playing an instrument, starting a business, or doing well in school, you have to be talented. That's what we've been told, right? That talent is the key. That some people are just naturals, born with a gift, and the rest of us just aren't. But let me ask you something. Have you ever told yourself, I'm just not good at that? Maybe you've said, I'm not good at languages, or I'm not creative, or I'm not smart enough. These kinds of thoughts can feel true, especially when we compare ourselves to people who seem to do things easily. But the truth is, we often confuse talent with practice. We see the result, but we don't see the hard work behind it. So what exactly is talent? Most people define it as a natural ability, something you're born with. It's the idea that you didn't have to work for it. You just have it. Maybe someone sings well without lessons, or they pick up new skills quickly. Sure, natural ability exists. Some people really do learn faster or move more smoothly than others. But the problem starts when we believe that talent is the most important thing. When we think, if I don't have talent, then I'll never be great at this. This is where mindset becomes so important. Mindset is how you think about learning, failure, progress, and growth. It's the belief that with time, effort, and the right attitude, you can improve, even if you're not naturally good at something. Mindset includes things like consistency, patience, resilience, and self-discipline. It's your ability to keep going, even when things get hard. And in most cases, mindset is what separates people who give up from people who grow. Let me give you a personal example. When I first started speaking in front of groups, whether it was for teaching, training, or public speaking, I was absolutely terrified. My hands would shake, my voice would go dry, and I would overthink every single word. I remember watching confident speakers and thinking, they must be born with that. I could never do what they do, but over time I realized that confidence isn't a talent. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. So I practiced. I failed. I embarrassed myself. But I kept going, and eventually the fear got smaller. My voice became stronger. I started enjoying the process. Today, when people hear me speak, they sometimes say, "You're so natural." And honestly, I still smile when I hear that. Not because it's true, but because I know how much effort it took to get here. And this is not just my story. Think about famous athletes, artists, or entrepreneurs. People often say things like, "Wow, they're so talented." But when you look behind the scenes, you see years, sometimes decades, of training, failure, and persistence. Take Michael Jordan, for example. Most people consider him one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But did you know he was actually cut from his high school basketball team? He wasn't always the best. He became the best through mindset, through discipline, and through never giving up. Another great example is J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She was rejected by multiple publishers before her book finally got accepted. She didn't stop because people said no. She kept going because she believed in her story. That's mindset. That's courage. And that's what creates success. So when we look at someone else and say, they're just talented, we're actually ignoring the most important part of their journey. We're ignoring the hours of effort, the setbacks, and the self-doubt they had to overcome. This is good news, really, because it means you don't have to wait to be gifted at something. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't need to be perfect. You just need the mindset to keep going, especially when it's hard. In language learning, this shows up all the time. I've seen learners who have amazing pronunciation, but they stop practicing because they're afraid of making mistakes. I've also seen learners who struggle with grammar or vocabulary, but they never give up. And those are the ones who eventually speak with fluency and confidence. Not because they were born with talent, but because they had the right mindset. They believed they could grow, and they did. So here's the question I want to leave you with today. Have you ever told yourself you're just not good at something? And if so, what if that belief isn't true? What if it's just a story you've repeated so many times that you stopped questioning it? It's time to break that myth. Talent is nice, but it's not enough. Mindset, your ability to learn, to adapt, and to keep showing up, is what really shapes your success. In English, in life, in anything you care about. And remember, progress doesn't always look exciting. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's slow, but with the right mindset, it's always possible. The role of the mind, beliefs, habits, and self-talk. So far, we've talked about the power of mindset and why it matters more than talent. But let's take a closer look at the mind itself, because mindset begins with how we think and how we talk to ourselves every single day. Even if we're not always aware of it, our thoughts are shaping our actions, decisions, and even our sense of identity. Now think about this. What's the first thing you usually say to yourself when something goes wrong? Maybe you forget a word in English, or you make a mistake at work. What do you hear in your head? For many people, it sounds like, I can't do this, or I always mess things up, or even worse, I'm not good enough. This inner voice is called self-talk, and whether it's positive or negative, it has a huge influence on your mindset. If your self-talk is always critical, if you constantly tell yourself you're not smart, not strong, not capable, guess what happens? You start to believe it. And when you believe something, your actions begin to match that belief. You stop trying. You play it safe. You stay small. Not because you're not capable, but because your mind has already decided you can't. One of the most common things people experience, especially when learning something new, is self-doubt. This means not trusting yourself. It's that little voice that says, you'll never be fluent, or other people are better than you, or why even try? And the more you listen to that voice, the stronger it becomes. Closely connected to self-doubt is perfectionism. That's the belief that if you can't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. Perfectionism sounds like, if I make a mistake, I'll look stupid, or I have to be 100% correct before I speak. It can make you feel stuck, like you're always preparing, always waiting for the right moment to try, but never actually doing it. But here's the truth. There's no perfect moment. And mistakes are not the enemy. They're part of the process. In fact, when it comes to learning, especially learning a language like English, mistakes are your best teacher. You don't grow by doing everything perfectly. You grow by doing it imperfectly, over and over, until one day it starts to feel more natural. So how do we change that critical voice in our head? It starts with awareness. Most people never stop to really listen to their thoughts. But once you start paying attention, You might be surprised at how often you speak negatively to yourself. You might notice how quickly you give up, or how much pressure you put on yourself to get it right. One way to begin shifting your mindset is to replace those old, unhelpful beliefs with new ones. Beliefs based on a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the idea that your abilities are not fixed. You can learn, improve, and grow with time, effort, and the right strategies. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset, which says you either have it or you don't. With a growth mindset, failure becomes feedback. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you say, "I'm still learning." Instead of, "I always fail," you say, "This is hard, but I can figure it out." It sounds simple, but it can completely change your experience, not only with language learning, but with life in general. Let me give you an example. A student I once worked with was terrified of speaking English. Every time she opened her mouth, she imagined people laughing or judging her. Her self-talk was full of self-doubt. She believed she wasn't smart enough, and she hated making mistakes. But we worked together on changing that mindset. She started writing down every time she did speak successfully, even if it was just one sentence. She practiced saying things like, "I'm proud of myself for trying," or "I'm learning. That's enough for today." Slowly, her confidence grew. She didn't become perfect, but she became free. Free to try, free to grow, free to enjoy the journey. And that's what I want for you too. So here's a little challenge. Over the next few days, pay attention to your thoughts, especially when you make a mistake or feel frustrated. What do you say to yourself? And then ask yourself, is this thought helping me or holding me back? You don't have to believe every thought you have. You can question it. You can replace it. You can reprogram your mind the same way you code a computer, by choosing better instructions, more helpful messages, and a more supportive inner voice. Because at the end of the day, your thoughts become your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your habits, and your habits create your future. So be gentle with yourself. Speak kindly. Practice often. And remember, your mind is not your enemy. It's your most powerful tool. You just have to learn how to use it. The body, movement, energy, and confidence. We've talked about the mind, about how your thoughts, beliefs, and self-talk shape your experience. But now, let's turn our attention to something more physical: your body. Sometimes we forget that our body isn't just something we live in. It's a major part of how we think, how we feel, and how we show up in the world. Have you ever noticed that your mood changes depending on how your body feels? Think about a day when you didn't sleep well. You probably felt tired, maybe a little irritated or foggy in your head. Or maybe you skipped meals or sat in the same position for too long. Suddenly, everything feels harder. Even small problems feel big. Your energy drops, your motivation disappears, and you start telling yourself things like, "I can't focus," or "I'm not in the mood to study today." And honestly, it's not just your attitude. It's your body sending a message. Our physical health affects our mental clarity and emotional balance more than we often realize. When your body is tired, your mind is slower. When your body is tense, your thoughts become more stressed. But here's the good news. The opposite is also true. When your body is awake, strong, and moving, even just a little, your mind becomes clearer, and your emotions become easier to manage. Let's take something as simple as walking. It doesn't require a gym or special clothes. You just step outside and move your legs. But have you ever gone for a walk when you were feeling overwhelmed? Maybe your head was full of thoughts, and you needed some space. And after just 10 or 15 minutes of walking, maybe listening to music, a podcast, or even just the sound of nature, your mind started to relax. Your thoughts slowed down. You felt more present. That's not magic. That's biology. Movement helps the brain release chemicals that reduce stress and improve mood. And walking is just one example. Even your posture, the way you hold your body, can affect your confidence and emotions. Imagine two people. One is standing tall, shoulders back, head up. The other is sitting with their shoulders forward, head down, arms crossed. Who looks more confident? And more importantly, who feels more confident? Studies have shown that changing your posture can actually send signals to your brain, helping you feel more powerful, more awake, and more in control, even if you're nervous or uncertain inside. And what about breathing? We often forget that breathing is part of our body's natural system for calming down. When we're anxious, our breathing becomes fast and shallow. But when we slow it down, when we breathe deeply and fully, we send a message to the brain. It's okay. You're safe. You can relax now. That simple act of breathing can be the first step toward feeling more clear, focused, and confident. The body is not just a vehicle that carries you through life. It's a source of energy, emotion, and strength. And it remembers things. It holds tension, joy, stress, and even trauma. That's why movement, even small movement, is so important. Whether it's dancing, stretching, yoga, walking, or just standing up to shake off the stress of a long day. Your body needs to move to feel alive. I want to ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive in your body? Not just awake or not tired, but alive. Maybe it was during a hike, or while swimming in the ocean, or when you danced at a party, or laughed so hard your whole body moved. Those moments matter. They remind us that our body isn't just something to fix or criticize. It's something to celebrate. Unfortunately, we often treat the body like an afterthought. We push it too hard or ignore it completely. We say things like, "I'll rest later," or "I don't have time to exercise," or "I'm too busy to cook healthy meals." But when we do that for too long, the body starts to send signals: pain, fatigue, headaches, anxiety. It's trying to tell us something important. And if we don't listen, our mind and soul suffer too. This is why creating simple habits around movement and care is so powerful. You don't need a perfect routine or a six-pack. You just need to treat your body with respect, to give it the fuel, rest, and movement it needs to support you. Because when your body feels strong and energized, your mind becomes sharper. You make better decisions. You feel more balanced, and you show up to life with more confidence. So maybe today, after listening to this episode, you can take one small step to reconnect with your body. Maybe it's a walk around the block. Maybe it's 10 deep breaths with your eyes closed. Maybe it's turning on music and dancing like no one is watching. Whatever it is, don't wait for the perfect time. Your body is ready now. It just needs you to pay attention. Remember, your body is not separate from your success, your growth, or your learning journey. It's part of the system. And when you take care of it, even in simple ways, everything else becomes just a little bit easier. The soul, purpose, passion, and alignment. So far, we've talked about the mind, your thoughts, your habits, your self-talk. We've talked about the body, your energy, movement, and confidence. But now, we've arrived at something deeper, something that's harder to see, but just as important. Let's talk about the soul. Now, I know the word soul can sound spiritual, or maybe even a little mysterious. But in a modern context, your soul doesn't have to be something religious or mystical. It's not about a specific belief system. The soul, in simple terms, is the part of you that wants meaning. It's your inner fire. It's the part that asks, "Why am I doing this?" or "Does this matter to me?" When we talk about the soul, we're really talking about purpose, passion, and alignment. That feeling that your life is connected to something bigger than just daily tasks or responsibilities. The soul shows up when you're doing something that feels right. Not just productive, but true. It could be something creative, like painting, writing, or making music. It could be something relational, like helping others, spending time with people you love, or supporting your community. It could even be something personal, like learning a language, not just to pass a test or get a job, but because it opens your world, connects you with new cultures, and helps you become the version of yourself you truly want to be. That's the power of the soul. When you're connected to it, everything feels more alive. Even the hard days feel worth it. You feel pulled forward by something meaningful, something that gives you energy, not just drains it. But here's the problem. In our modern lives, it's very easy to lose touch with the soul. We get busy. We rush. We focus on achievement, deadlines, and expectations. And little by little, we stop asking the big questions. We stop making time for the things that fill us up. And without meaning, even small tasks can feel heavy. Motivation disappears. We start asking ourselves, what's the point? Have you ever felt that way? Maybe you were working hard, staying busy, checking all the boxes, but still feeling empty. Like you were going through the motions, but your heart wasn't really in it. That's a sign that your soul is hungry. Not for food, but for purpose. This is why motivation and meaning are so deeply connected. People often ask, how can I stay motivated? And the answer is almost always the same. Connect to your why. If you're learning English just because someone told you to, or because you feel pressure from school or work, it's very easy to lose focus. But if you're learning because it helps you express your ideas, understand new perspectives, travel, connect, grow, suddenly, it's not just a task. It becomes part of your identity. It becomes something your soul is involved in. And here's something important. You don't need a big purpose to feel meaning. Not everyone is saving the world or writing best-selling books. Sometimes purpose is quiet. Maybe it's taking care of your family. Maybe it's learning something new every day. Maybe it's becoming a kinder, stronger version of yourself. All of these things matter. They bring meaning to your days, and when your days feel meaningful, your life starts to feel more whole. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I met a man in his 60s who had just started learning English. Most people his age were slowing down, thinking about retirement. But he said something that stuck with me. He said, "I don't want to stop growing. Every new word I learn, I feel more connected to the world. It makes me feel alive." That's purpose. That's soul. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being in alignment, knowing why he was doing what he was doing. So I want to ask you a question. What gives your life meaning right now? Really think about it. Is it your relationships? Your work? Your dreams? Maybe you're still figuring it out. And that's okay. Finding your purpose isn't something that happens in one moment. It's a process. But it starts by listening. Listening to your intuition. Paying attention to what excites you, what moves you, what gives you that feeling of, yes, this is who I want to be. When your mind is focused, your body is supported. and your soul is engaged. You don't just perform better, you feel better. You become more resilient, more motivated, more peaceful. You begin to move through life with a sense of direction, rather than just reacting to everything that happens around you. So today, I invite you to check in with your soul. Not in a dramatic or complicated way, just gently. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me right now? And then, listen. The answer might not come right away, but the more you ask, the clearer it becomes. Your soul is always speaking. You just have to slow down enough to hear it. How the mind, body, and soul work together. Now that we understand what the mind, body, and soul are, it's time to look at something very important: how they work together. These three parts of you are not separate. They are deeply connected, and they affect each other every single day. When one part feels good, it often helps the other parts feel good too. But when one part is out of balance, the other parts can also suffer. Let's explore how this connection works in real life, in simple ways. Think about a time when you were feeling very stressed. Maybe you had a big problem at work or school. You were thinking about it all the time. Your mind was full of worry. Now, what happened to your body? Maybe your shoulders became tight, your head started hurting, or your stomach felt strange. You couldn't sleep well or eat properly. This is one example of how your mind can affect your body. Stress begins in the mind, but the body feels it too. The same thing can happen in the other direction. If your body is tired or sick, your mind may feel slow, sad, or less motivated. For example, when you don't get enough sleep for many days, you may find it hard to concentrate. You feel more emotional and less positive. Your body doesn't have energy, and your mind also starts to lose focus and joy. This shows how the body can affect the mind. And what about the soul? Let's say you are living your life, going to work, doing your tasks, but you don't feel connected to anything. You feel like something is missing. Maybe you're not doing what you love, or you're not spending time with people who make you feel happy and safe. Even if your body is healthy and your mind is working well, your soul may feel empty. When the soul is not at peace, you may feel tired inside, even if nothing is physically wrong. You may start to feel low energy, low motivation, or even lost. Now let's take a positive example. Think about a time when you went outside and took a walk in nature. You looked at the sky, felt the fresh air, and listened to the birds. Your body was moving, which helped your blood flow and gave you energy. Your mind became quiet and calm because you were not thinking about problems. And your soul felt happy and connected because you were present in the moment and enjoying life. That's how simple actions can help all three parts, mind, body, and soul, feel good together. Exercise is another great example of how they work as a team. When you go for a run, do yoga, or even dance in your room, your body becomes active and healthy. At the same time, your mind starts to release chemicals that make you feel happy and less stressed. These are called feel-good hormones, like endorphins. And when you move your body with joy, your soul also feels lighter. You feel more alive, more connected to yourself. This is a perfect example of balance. Even small habits like deep breathing or drinking a glass of water can show how connected these parts are. When you stop for a moment to take a few deep breaths, your body starts to relax. Your heart beats slower. Your muscles let go of tension. Then your mind begins to feel calm. And your soul, which often gets lost in busy life, gets a moment of peace. Relationships are another powerful example. When you spend time with someone you care about, maybe a good friend or family member, your mind feels happy and safe. your body reacts too. You may smile more, feel relaxed, or even laugh out loud, and your soul feels love and connection. On the other hand, if you are in a negative relationship, it can hurt all three. Your thoughts may become anxious, your body may feel heavy, and your soul may feel drained. So you see, the mind, body, and soul are like a team. They work best when they support each other. You can't always control everything in life, but you can start to notice how one part affects the others. If your mind feels heavy, maybe your body needs movement. If your soul feels tired, maybe your mind needs silence. If your body is weak, maybe your soul needs encouragement. Understanding this connection helps us make better choices. It helps us live a more balanced and peaceful life. And the good news is, you don't need big changes. Even small, simple steps, like smiling, walking, resting, listening to music, or helping someone, can help bring your mind, body, and soul into harmony. Why the mind-body-soul connection is important. Now that we understand what the mind, body, and soul are, and how they work together, let's talk about why this connection is so important in our daily lives. You might be wondering, why should I care about this? The answer is simple. When your mind, body, and soul are working in balance, you feel better. You feel more calm, more focused, and more alive. Life becomes more enjoyable, even when it's not perfect. Let's start with the idea of balance. Just like a chair needs 3 strong legs to stand, your life needs all 3 parts, mind, body, and soul, to feel strong and steady. If one part becomes weak or is ignored for too long, you may start to feel tired, sad, or stressed. But when all 3 are balanced, your energy is higher, your thoughts are clearer, and your emotions are more stable. You are more able to handle problems, make good choices, and enjoy simple moments. There are many benefits of this balance. For example, when your mind is clear, you can learn better and focus more easily. When your body is healthy, you have the strength to do what you need to do each day. And when your soul feels peaceful, you feel more connected to yourself and to the people around you. You smile more, you sleep better, you worry less. Even your relationships and work can improve when you feel balanced inside. But what happens when this connection is not strong? Let's look at a few real examples. When your mind is full of stress and anxiety, it can make your body feel tired and weak. You might get headaches, stomach pain, or trouble sleeping. You may feel nervous all the time, even when there's no big problem. Over time, this stress can turn into real health problems. Many doctors say that too much stress is a big cause of illness in today's world. The same thing can happen if your body is not taken care of. If you don't get enough sleep, don't eat healthy food, or don't move your body, your mind can start to feel slow or negative. You might feel angry, sad, or just not yourself. You may lose motivation and start avoiding things that you used to enjoy. Even your soul may feel disconnected, like something is missing, but you don't know what it is. And if your soul is not well, maybe you feel lonely, empty, or without purpose. Then your mind and body will also feel low. You may feel like nothing makes you happy anymore. You may feel tired even after resting. You may stop caring about things you once loved. This is why it's not enough to only care for one part of yourself. All 3 parts, mind, body, and soul, need your attention and care. But here's the good news. You can rebuild the connection. You don't need to make big changes all at once. Even small actions can help you feel better. When you do something kind for your body, like going for a walk or drinking enough water, your mind starts to feel clearer, and your soul feels more alive. When you rest your mind by turning off your phone and just breathing, your body begins to relax, and your soul feels more peaceful. When you listen to music, help a friend, or spend time in nature, your soul feels full, and your mind and body respond with calm and happiness. Caring for all three parts doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It simply means you pay attention to how you feel. Ask yourself from time to time, how is my mind doing? Is my body okay? How does my soul feel today? These simple questions can help you stay connected to yourself. And when you feel connected, life feels more meaningful and less stressful. Remember, balance doesn't mean feeling perfect all the time. Life has ups and downs. You will have busy days, hard days, and quiet days. That's normal. But when you learn how to care for your whole self, it becomes easier to come back to peace and calm, even during stressful times. You become stronger from the inside out. So now you can see why the mind-body-soul connection is so important. It's not just an idea. It's a real part of how we live, how we feel, and how we grow. When you understand it, and when you take small steps to care for it, your life begins to change in beautiful ways. In the next part of the episode, I'll share some simple and practical tips that you can use every day to improve this connection. These tips will be easy to do, even if you're busy. They will help your mind feel calm, your body feel healthy, and your soul feel alive. So stay with me, and let's take the next step together. Simple tips to improve the mind-body-soul connection. Now that we understand how important the mind-body-soul connection is, let's talk about what we can actually do to improve it. The good news is that you don't need to make big changes or spend a lot of money. There are many small things you can do every day to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. These tips are simple, practical, and easy to add to your daily routine, even if you have a busy life. Let's begin with the mind. Your mind needs care, just like your body does. One of the best ways to take care of your mind is to keep learning. Reading a book, listening to a podcast, or watching a documentary can help your brain stay active and sharp. Even learning a few new words in English each day is a great exercise for your mind. Try to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes each day doing something that helps your mind grow. Another great way to care for your mind is to take breaks. We live in a fast world with many things to think about. Sometimes our minds get tired because we don't stop. When your mind feels full or stressed, take a few minutes to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and just rest. It doesn't need to be long. Even 2 or 3 minutes of silence can make a big difference. Writing in a journal is also helpful. You can write about your day, your thoughts, or how you feel. This can help you understand your emotions better and let go of stress. It's like giving your mind a way to speak and relax. Now, let's talk about your body. Taking care of your body helps you feel stronger and more energetic. One of the easiest things you can do is to move your body every day. You don't need to go to the gym or run for hours. A 10-minute walk, some light stretching, or even dancing to music in your room can be enough. Movement helps your blood flow, supports your heart, and even helps your mind feel better. Another important part of body care is sleep. Try to get enough sleep each night, usually 7 to 8 hours for most adults. A good night's sleep gives your body time to rest and heal. When you sleep well, you wake up with more energy, and your mood is usually better too. Eating well is also key. Try to eat a mix of healthy foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, whole grains, and enough water. You don't need a perfect diet. Just make small choices that support your body's health. For example, drinking a glass of water instead of soda, or choosing a fresh fruit instead of a sweet snack. These small habits help your body feel good and give you the strength to enjoy life. And now, let's not forget the soul. This part of you needs just as much care. One simple way to feed your soul is to practice gratitude. Each day, take a moment to think of one or two things you are thankful for. It could be something small, like a good cup of tea, a message from a friend, or the sound of birds in the morning. When you focus on what is good, your heart feels lighter and more peaceful. Spending time with people you love is also food for the soul. Call a friend, visit your family, or even have a short chat with someone kind. Connection brings joy, and joy makes your soul stronger. If you can, spend time in nature. Even if it's just 5 minutes sitting near a tree, walking in a park, or feeling the sun on your face. Nature has a special power to calm the soul and help you feel more connected to the world around you. Also, try doing something kind, not just for others, but also for yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Speak kindly to yourself, especially when things go wrong. Tell yourself, "I'm doing my best," or "It's okay to rest." This kind of self-kindness feeds your soul and gives you strength inside. Even listening to peaceful music, reading something inspiring, or spending a quiet moment alone can help your soul feel more balanced. Your soul doesn't need loud, busy things. Often, it finds peace in silence, love, and meaning. As you can see, taking care of your mind, body, and soul doesn't have to be difficult. It's about paying attention to how you feel and choosing small actions that support your well-being. You don't need to do everything at once. Start with one thing a day. Maybe today you take a walk. Tomorrow you write in your journal. The next day, you say thank you for something good in your life. Little by little, these small actions can create big changes. Over time, you will start to feel more peaceful, more connected, and more alive. And as you grow in your mind, your body, and your soul, your life begins to feel more whole and more joyful. Setbacks and growth. Real change takes time. Let's be honest, personal growth is hard. Whether you're learning a language, changing your mindset, building healthier habits, or just trying to become a better version of yourself, the truth is that it's not always smooth or easy. And today, I want to talk about something we all experience but don't always talk about: setbacks. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like you were doing great, studying regularly, eating well, waking up early, maybe even feeling confident, and then, suddenly, something happened? You got busy, you got tired, life threw something unexpected your way, and before you knew it, everything stopped. You fell out of your routine, you lost motivation, you started to doubt yourself again. That's what people often call falling off the wagon. It's when you fall back into old habits or stop doing something that was good for you. And let me tell you, it's normal. It happens to everyone. It doesn't mean you're weak or lazy. It just means you're human. Sometimes we also talk about going back to square one, that feeling like you're starting all over again. Maybe you felt this with English. You studied hard for weeks, then took a break, and now you can't remember certain words or grammar rules. Or maybe you were working on your mindset, thinking more positively, speaking kindly to yourself, and then something went wrong, and the old self-doubt came back. It feels like all your progress disappeared. But here's something really important to understand. Progress isn't linear. That means it doesn't go in a straight line. Growth is full of ups and downs, forward steps and backward ones. Some days you feel on top of the world, motivated, clear, strong. And other days you feel like you're stuck or even going backwards. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Think about climbing a mountain. Sometimes the path goes up. Sometimes it turns and goes down a little before going up again. There are rocks. There are pauses. There are moments when you stop to catch your breath. But as long as you keep showing up, you are still climbing. Now, let's talk about how we handle those moments when we fall, when things don't go the way we hoped. One of the most powerful things you can do is simply get back on your feet. That's another expression we use when we talk about recovering after a fall. It doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means giving yourself a chance to begin again, without judgment. You don't have to wait for the right time to restart. You don't need to feel 100% motivated. You just need to take one small step. Maybe that means opening your notebook again. Maybe it means going for a short walk after a few days of feeling down. Maybe it means looking in the mirror and saying, "It's okay. I'm still learning." One of the biggest mistakes people make when they face a setback is believing they have to start over from zero. But that's not true. Everything you've done before, all the hours, all the effort, all the lessons, they're still inside you. Even if you paused, even if you got off track, you didn't lose everything. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Let me give you a personal example. A while ago, I committed to meditating every morning, just 10 minutes a day. At first, I was consistent. I felt calmer, more focused, more present. But then one week got busy, and I skipped a few days. Then a few days became a week. And before I knew it, I had completely stopped. My first reaction? Guilt. That voice in my head said, "See? You can't even stick to 10 minutes. But eventually, I reminded myself, falling is not the problem. Staying down is, so I started again. No drama, no guilt, just one small breath, one small choice. And now, meditation is part of my life again. Not perfectly, but consistently enough to make a difference. So how do we stay consistent, especially when life gets messy? Here are a few things that help. First, expect setbacks. Don't be surprised when things get hard. In fact, plan for it. Understand that you will lose motivation sometimes. You will make mistakes. But that doesn't mean the journey is over. Second, make it small and doable. When you restart, don't try to do everything at once. Start with one small step. 5 minutes of listening. 1 page of reading. 1 walk outside. Small wins build momentum. Third, be kind to yourself. The way you speak to yourself during a hard time can either lift you up or push you down. Practice saying things like, "I'm learning. I'm not perfect. And that's okay. I'm proud of myself for trying." And finally, stay connected to your why. Remember what we talked about in the last episode: purpose and passion. When you know why you're doing something, it's easier to come back to it, even after you fall off track. So if you're listening right now and thinking, "I've been stuck," or "I gave up," or "I don't know if I can do this," I want you to know this. You can start again today. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. Just take one small step. That's how real growth happens, not in straight lines, but in circles of learning, falling, and rising again. Every time you fall and get back up, you're getting stronger. Every time you doubt yourself but keep going, you're building resilience. And every time you choose to try again, you're becoming the kind of person who doesn't give up. Why mindset wins, more than just a buzzword. We've come a long way in this episode, from exploring the mind, body, and soul, to looking at motivation, habits, and the role of self-talk. But now, as we reach the final part of our journey, it's time to return to the central message of everything we've been talking about. Mindset matters more than talent. It really does. You've probably heard the word mindset everywhere. On podcasts, in self-help books, on social media. It's become a popular word. Some people might even say it's just another buzzword. Something trendy that people say, but don't really understand. But the truth is, mindset is not just a trend. It's not a magic trick, or something that only successful people use. It's a way of thinking, living, and growing. And it's available to everyone, including you. Let's go back to the question I asked at the beginning of this episode. Is talent enough? And by now, I think you already know the answer. No, talent alone is not enough. Yes, some people are naturally gifted. They might learn faster, move smoother, or understand things more quickly. But natural talent can only take you so far. What really makes the difference, in learning, in life, in relationships, in work, is mindset. Let me give you a few examples. You've probably heard of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before she became one of the most successful writers in the world, she was a single mother living in poverty. She was rejected by 12 different publishers before one finally said yes. Most people would have given up after 2 or 3 rejections, but she didn't. She believed in her story. She kept going. Or think about Michael Jordan, often called the greatest basketball player of all time. He was actually cut from his high school basketball team. That's right, he didn't make the team. Can you imagine how painful that was for a teenager who loved the game? But instead of giving up, he trained harder. He said, "I've failed over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." Or take Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. He failed over 1,000 times before getting it right. When someone asked him if he felt like a failure, he said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that don't work." That's mindset. That's the refusal to quit, even when things don't go your way. So, what do all these people have in common? It's not just talent. It's not even luck. It's that they kept showing up. They believed they could improve. They allowed failure to teach them. They understood that success isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. And that same truth applies to you. Whether you're learning English, starting a new job, trying to be healthier, or just figuring out who you are, you don't need to be the most talented person in the room. You just need to keep going, keep learning, keep trying, keep growing. Sometimes we look at successful people and think, "I could never do that." But you don't see the hours of practice, the nights of self-doubt, the times they wanted to quit. What you're really seeing is the result of consistent effort over time. You can't control your talent, but you can control your attitude, your effort, and your ability to get back in the game when things go wrong. And yes, you will fall. You will get tired. You will question yourself. That's normal. That's part of being human. But what matters most is what you do next. Do you stop completely? Or do you take a deep breath, forgive yourself, and start again? Mindset is not about being positive all the time. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about knowing that even when things are not fine, even when life feels heavy or uncertain, you still have the power to take one small step forward. And that step can change everything. So let's end this journey with a message from me to you. Not as a teacher, not as a voice behind a microphone, but as someone who believes in your potential. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to take the next step. You're not too late. You're not too far behind. You're not broken. You are learning, growing, and becoming. And the tool that will carry you through every challenge. More than talent, more than luck, more than intelligence, is your mindset. So the next time you feel stuck, remember, progress isn't about speed. It's about showing up again and again with an open heart and a willing mind. And if you ever forget how strong you are, just come back to this truth. You don't have to be the best. You just have to keep going. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to take a moment to breathe and just reflect with you. We've covered a lot today. We talked about the mind, how your thoughts, beliefs, and inner dialogue can shape your reality. We explored the role of the body, how movement, energy, and confidence are all connected. And we went deep into the soul, that part of you that looks for meaning, purpose, and passion. We also talked honestly about setbacks, how growth isn't always easy, and how progress doesn't move in a straight line. And through it all, one message came up again and again. Mindset matters more than talent. That's the truth I hope you take with you today. Talent can open the door, but mindset is what helps you walk through it. And keep walking, even when the path gets hard. Now, I'd like to leave you with a simple question. Something to really think about after this episode ends. Here it is. What's one area in your life where you've been waiting for talent instead of building your mindset? Maybe it's learning English. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm just not good at languages. Or maybe it's something else. Starting a creative project, applying for a job, joining a fitness class, or even speaking up in conversations. Ask yourself, have I been waiting to feel ready, gifted, or perfect, instead of just starting where I am and growing from there? This week, I invite you to turn this reflection into a small challenge. Something simple, but powerful. You can take 10 minutes to journal about it in English, or speak your thoughts out loud as a speaking practice. You can start like this. One area where I've been waiting for talent is, if I had a stronger mindset, I want to practice showing up with effort, instead of waiting for perfection. This kind of reflection helps you not only improve your English, but also connect with your own life in a deeper way. And that's the heart of Code Your English. Learning language not just through rules and vocabulary, but through real life, real emotion, and real growth. Let me remind you of something important before we end. Your mind is your greatest tool. Use it wisely, protect it, train it, speak kindly to it, feed it with ideas, challenges, and inspiration. The stronger your mindset becomes, the more prepared you'll be for anything life puts in front of you. So take that next step, whatever it looks like for you. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be yours. Keep learning, keep growing, and most of all, keep believing in your ability to become more than you were yesterday. And if this episode helped you, inspired you, or gave you something to think about, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it too. Or leave a review for Code Your English. It really helps this podcast reach more learners like you. Until next time, take care of your mind, body, and soul. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going.